Hi, I'm Pete, and this is an update on the MF8 Heaven's Eyes puzzle. So this huge puzzle was released by MF8 earlier this year, and I've had mine for about 2.5 months, and I will tell you it has been very, very entertaining. Frustrating at times, but it was certainly a great challenge and quite a rewarding experience to finally solve it. In order to solve this, I tried a lot of different things, and because it's such a big puzzle, it would often take me a while before I realized I was going down the wrong path. That was the thing. Once I found what the right approach was, the right steps to solve it, the actual solve is really not that hard. I didn't use any commutators, just simple 3 cycles, very similar to what you use on the Megaminx up, up, down, down. Now, even though it is in a dodecahedral shape, the actual shape of this puzzle very strongly resembles the crazy comet. And once the edges are solved, so in this configuration, you actually solve it just like a crazy comet, which is itself normally reduced to a curvicopter when you are solving it. So it kind of brings in all of these different puzzles, and that's one of the things I kind of like about it. Now, the reason I have the Bagua cube here is that this puzzle, and this is, when I scrambled this, I had no idea, and then I scrambled it and I found out that it had a lot of bandaging. So bandaging, these little thin edges that you see on the Bagua cube, once these pieces get all jumbled up and they are crossing the faces and the cuts on the puzzle is bandaged. So and then it limits the way that you can turn it. The thing about the Bagua cube is that you can actually see the bandaging. It's external, so at least you know what's causing your puzzle not to turn. On a Heaven's Eyes puzzle, the bandaging is very difficult to see, and I don't know if I can even show you, but if you press the piece in, you'll see that this goes straight up like that. And when the piece is bandaged, you'll get it going across. So if this piece here was in an edge position, if it was bandaged and the edge was going across, it would just kind of fill in that gap. Okay, and it's very difficult to see. I don't even know if I can show you on the camera, but the tips of the bandaging pieces are just poking out. And so the way to find out if a piece is bandaged, push the piece in and kind of look to see if the edge is there. So that bandaging really makes the puzzle challenging because you can't see it. You can see it if you get really close and you push it in, but just with it on your desk you can't see it. So if I'm going to go do a 3 cycle on this puzzle, if any of the pieces that are involved in the 3 cycle are bandaged, then it's going to stop in the middle. So before I do the 3 cycle, I have to make really sure that none of the pieces that are involved have any bandaging. So sorting out the bandaging is one challenging aspect of solving the puzzle. The other challenging aspect of solving the puzzle is the fact that this is a face turning puzzle, and I'm just gonna turn a couple of faces here. I'm just gonna turn a few faces, so I want you to see that there are parts of the face that you can't get to through regular face turns, and that is there are 2 small triangles at each Megaminx corner, and then 2 triangles and a quadrilateral piece at each tip of the face. So those pieces always have to be put in really before you assemble the edges. Once you assemble the edges, if you try to put those pieces in, you'll break the bandaging and you'll mangle these finished edge pieces. So that makes it challenging as well, because I was working as I was solving this, trying to figure out when the right time to put them in, how to put them in without destroying the unbandaging that I'd already done, which is, as it turns out, impossible. Now, there's also one other thing that makes this kind of difficult, is that the quadrilaterals, there are, as you see on each edge, there's 1, 2, just on a face, and of course there's on the edge piece there's 4 of them, but on each face there's 1, 2, 3, 4 down here, and then 4 more for a total of 8 quadrilaterals, and then there's this one and this one. Okay, so what I'm gonna tell you then is kind of important. These quadrilaterals have the bandaging piece on, this is a left-handed piece, that's a right-handed piece, but there's no way to tell, right? So this piece could be over in this position, and you can't really tell until you look at it and you see the bandaging piece on the wrong side of it. So you have to get those right for the bandaging to go parallel to each other. However, and this is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm just going to, if you don't want to hear this part, I'm not going to tell you, but there's a pretty big hint that you really need that I think is a little unsporting of MF8. So I'm going to explain it to you, but if you don't want to hear it, I'm just going to put a spoiler alert bar on the bottom, so you can just mute the volume or mute the sound, or skip ahead until that bar goes away. Okay? Alright, so here we go. Here's the big spoiler. The big spoiler, and this actually came from a poster on the Twisty Puzzle Forum, and I'm forever grateful, because I would have had a terrible problem solving this puzzle otherwise. Okay, so this is a left-handed piece, left-handed piece, left-handed, left-handed. So there are 4 left-handed and 4 right-handed quadrilaterals that are required to make the face. But there's also this quadrilateral and that quadrilateral. Now the question is that a left-handed piece or a right-handed piece? Okay. Now, when you actually assemble a puzzle, it doesn't matter. Either piece will fit in there. But each of these quadrilaterals does have a left hand or a right hand. But when it's in this special position, it makes no difference. It can be a left-handed or a right-handed. But here's what does make a difference. You would think that MF8 would have given you 4 right-handed, 4 left-handed, and then a right and a left on each face, right? Well, no, that's not what they did. The handedness of these two pieces is effectively random. They put whatever piece they felt, I guess they just randomly put the pieces in the face as they were assembling the puzzle. Which means that on some faces you have 2 left-handeds, some you have 2 right-handeds, and some you have a left and a right. Well, the implication here is this. In the solve, you have to put these pieces in very early in the solve. Then, near the very end of the solve, you're reducing your edges. So if this had 2 left-handed pieces originally, but you put a left and a right in instead, then when you're getting to reducing these edges, when you get to the last one, you would run out of right-handed pieces because there aren't enough. If these were originally 2 left-handed pieces, you'd be short one piece. You wouldn't be able to reduce the last edge. And even if you figured it out, that was the problem, then you would have to destroy this piece and put it, or destroy all these edges to put this piece in, the proper one, and doing that destroys an awful lot of the unbandaging. So I consider that to be kind of unsporting by MF8. They should have either given one of each, I think would have been smart, or the whole puzzle all left-handed, and then somebody else's whole puzzle could be right-handed in the special slots. That would be fine. So what I did in order to be able to solve this was I made myself a tracking sheet. Because remember, my puzzle was already solved. So if you wanted to, and your puzzle's not scrambled, sorry, my puzzle was already scrambled. So if you wanted to, while your puzzle's not scrambled, you can go and check, and it's kind of hard to see, but this is a left-handed. I can just barely see the piece. So this is a left-handed piece here, and this one's also a left-handed. So there are 2 left-handeds on here on the white face. Okay, so what I did was I tallied the number of left quadrilaterals, number of right quadrilaterals, and because I had, remember my puzzle was scrambled, so I couldn't actually see what it originally like, but because I had 2 extra lefts, then I knew that the special pieces were both left. Okay, on the lime green face over here, my tally was that I had 5 of each left and right, which means that because I only need 4 of each for the edges, that means that the 2 extras, I had a left and a right on the special face. This sheet is unique for my puzzle. Yours will be different. Okay, so that's how I got around this. I don't think it's sporting because it's a hidden property of the puzzle. It's a random property of the puzzle, and you don't get to find out about this until you get to the end of the puzzle, and you literally can't solve some of the edges because you run out of pieces. I experienced that fairly early myself, and it was confusing, right? But I thought that there was an easy way to move these pieces, and I was completely wrong. So that was, so now I will take the spoiler bar off the bottom of the screen now that we've covered that spoiler. But once you know that, then it is pretty straightforward. You can assemble all of the faces. You know, you can assemble the special pieces, the special triangles, and then unbandage the puzzle. The other thing that I had some difficulty with was the how to use the Megaminx 3 cycle on this really funky looking edge, and also the fact that the Megaminx 3 cycle does knock out some of the special pieces. As it turns out, it's actually not that bad. You do this up, up, down, down, and you do that 3 times. Up, up, down, down, and up, down, down. If this seems a little chunky, it's just that I'm doing it at a distance from the my arms out, not real close. And so what I've done is I've swapped those 2 pieces, okay, and I've also rotated those 2 pieces. If I do it 3 more times, those 2 pieces will go back into position. So you have to do this in increments of 3. It also fixes this. But you got to be careful because if you stop and you haven't done 3, then this face will be mangled, and especially the special pieces. So I'm able to move this piece out of here, and now I can do my 3 cycle, and I could say put that in. Whoa, down, down, up, down, down, and one more up, up, down, down. So I've done a total of 6 cycles, and you'll see that these bottoms are correct now. And I've just managed to swap a couple pieces. And that's basically the whole technique for assembling the faces. First, you do just face turns to build an edge where both bandaging pieces are parallel, and then sometimes it'll look like that where it has a corner sticking out when it should be an edge. Right, and you can move the face, and you can move it. And as long as you start up, you're only affecting the bottom here. You're not affecting that. So I can put everything back. Okay, so and then I put that back, and then I can move this, and I can put that back. And you can see, now that I got my rhythm, it's actually not so bad. Normally I'm holding it a little closer to me, and so I can watch it a little bit more. So really that's my technique for solving the edges, just learning what you can turn up, learning how to assemble the bandaging pieces, and then once I get them assembled, then move them down to the other parts of the puzzle. It really looks wild and crazy when it's all scrambled, and you've got edges where corners should be and corners where edges should be, and the centers of these are all mixed up. But if you solve the Bagua cube, or I guess the MF8 Sun Cube is, I don't have one, but I think it's also along those lines. It's very similar. Now, one good thing about this is that the Bagua Cube has a peculiar parity problem where you'll get two of these two color thin edges swapped around, and then you have to have a special technique to fix that. That doesn't happen on this because the thin edges are one color. So you shouldn't get that parity anyway. I don't think so anyway. I didn't get it. You do get the swapped edge parity, but that's very easy. It's actually very easy to swap these edges out. If they're both the same color and the common colors pointing up, you can actually three-cycle the middle, sort of the inside of the edge down, and then bring it over, and then swap it, and then swap it back. So that's actually pretty straightforward. This is a fun puzzle. It is a lot of work. There are 30 edges. Oh yeah, and once you get all the edges, you get all the bandaging undone, then the next thing is to try and figure out how to assemble these pieces again without damaging these triangles and all the special pieces that you put in. And it is possible, and again, it's not a very complicated algorithm, almost identical to the way I did it on the Bagua Cube, where you sort of turn both, and then you and then you turn it, right? You turn the piece down, and then the piece that you made, you substitute in another piece and bring it back, and that's pretty much it. So this this puzzle is a beast, but I found it very rewarding to solve. One other thing I'll say about it is I think my stickers are looking okay, but I've glued down every single little triangle. The small triangles, they weren't stuck very well. They're kind of, the glue is just kind of marginal, and they just didn't stick well. So in the course of 2.5 months of solving on this puzzle, I glued down all those little triangles. Every once in a while I'd just stop and I'd see one loose, and I just glue down all the triangles on one face. So it's just something to look at. If I were to get a brand new one, I'd just go around and do them straight away. Otherwise, it's held up very well. It turns quite well. It will catch a little bit. Sometimes the little triangles will catch. You just got to make sure that you've turned everything and properly, and not sort of try to turn when things aren't lined up. If a little triangle does catch, and sometimes when it's the little triangle will catch and it'll pop out just a little bit, but if you just back up, it'll pop right back in. I've not had any serious problems with it. Yeah, so that's pretty much my MF8 Heaven's Eyes update. I'm estimating that it would take me, if I scrambled this and just started solving, somewhere between 15 and 20 hours to solve it. It is a very long puzzle to solve. Not super hard, mostly just these 3 cycles and strategy, but still, there's just a lot to do. There are 30 of these edges to build. You have to unbandage them, you have to put in all the special pieces, unbandage everything. Yeah, there's quite a bit. So, and what really impresses me about this puzzle, what I found really fun, was just there's so many other puzzles that it touches, right? You move the pieces like a Megaminx, you assemble the edges and you unbandage stuff like the Bagua Cube. You solve the Crazy Comet. You pair up the centers of the Crazy Comet to turn it into a logical curvicopter, and then you solve the curvicopter. I actually had mine sitting up like this, and of course these are the pedals, the centers of the curvicopter. It was fun, and a very rewarding thing to solve. So that's it for this update. I hope that gave you some information on the Heaven's Eyes puzzle. I'm not inclined to do a tutorial on this just because there are a lot of I don't know how many people are actually trying to solve the Heaven's Eyes who would want a tutorial, and just because it's such a lengthy solve, it would take a long time just to film a tutorial. However, feel free to comment and try to change my mind if you really want to see Heaven's Eyes tutorial. And otherwise, if you have any specific questions about your puzzle, if you've got it scrambled, maybe something I could help you with, again, just leave me some feedback in the comments. All right, well, that's it for this update. As always, I appreciate your comments, your questions, your suggestions. Let me know what other puzzles you're interested in seeing on my channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.